Hi everybody. So we're shifting now from the lower body. So we, began with the feet when we're looking at the lower body, and when we're looking at the upper body, I'm going to begin with the hands. So when did you last think about how you might strengthen through your hands or your wrists or your grip? Because one of the simple ways of testing your health of your body and even your cognitive health is to test your grip strength. Really amazing. I didn't know that until I went off to be part of some trial they were doing up in UCD. So your grip strength is apparently a really good indication of how long you're going to live. How about that? Anyway, I just want you to take your right hand out and just relax it. Just let everything fall. And I just want you to feel your forearm and your upper arm. You can feel it's all squishy and soft. And I want you to make a claw. So I don't want you to make a fist, I want you to make a claw, and really energize through it. And now feel your forearm and feel your upper arm. Forearm particularly, you've switched on the muscles, okay? Nice grip, nice tight sort of claw-like thing, and you're switching on. So do it with the other side. Again, relax it, make a fist, or not a fist, make a kind of claw. And if you've all seen these, sort of squeezy things that you can get, that you can see in gyms and stuff for strengthening your grip. But a really simple thing is just something like a little ball with a little bit of give in it. A tennis ball is too big, actually. Golf ball is too small and there's no give in it. But something around, like this is kind of egg-shaped, actually. I don't know where I got it. It's just something that I have in the car. And if I'm, stuck in traffic or something, I can just squeeze it. And I'm creating that same effect as I was creating with making the claw. So just really simple, something to do with your hands that's really, really simple. And that's a strengthening move for your hands. Of course, you can strengthen your grip in all kinds of other ways. I've got a bar to hang out of downstairs in one of the doorways. So every time I'm passing it, I can just grab on and hang. So that's going to strengthen through my arms and my shoulders as well. And just being able to do really simple things like that. Not that you're ever going to be hanging off a cliff, and hoping to hang on forever. That's not really what we're after. But it's just retaining, or even not just retaining or maintaining, but increasing the strength of the various different parts of your body. We're going to switch now to how you might stretch and strengthen through your wrists and your fingers and your forearms. And these are really difficult to isolate. So the simplest one I was showing you there is just that, or squeezing something like the ball. So to do the others, I have a whole sequence of little things that you can do. So again, I'm up on my knees, as I often am in these little videos. So I'm going to come into a kind of box shape. So I'm like this, okay? And because that's going to put some weight on my wrists, but not too much weight on my wrists. I have my fingers spread, so I'm not tenting my fingers. Tenting your fingers is making a kind of claw with your fingers, but I want the backs of, I suppose that's the back, and that's the front, and that's the back. Anyway, here, I want these joints pressed into the mat. So when I look down at my hands, they look kind of like starfish. And now I'm not going to take too much weight on them because I'm taking a lot of weight on my knees, and I'm just going to rotate my upper body around my wrists, and you should really feel that. And then I'm going to take them in the opposite direction. And again, you're going to feel that, I would suggest. And then I'm going to place my fingers so they're facing outwards. So they're away from me, and they're away from me, and I'm just going to rock side to side. So you can see what's happening here. Again, you're working on your wrist, you're working on your inner lower arms, rocking side to side. And as with all of these things I do with you, it gets more complicated or more difficult as we proceed. So now you're going to take so that your fingers are facing backwards and your fingers are facing backwards. So my wrists are facing forwards now. And then I'm going to lean back with my palms of my hands down. And then I'm going to lean back and take my palms up. I'm going to come forward to release. I'm going to come back to stretch. So you should feel a really good stretch here along the inside of your forearm. And coming back and release and come back with the palms up and the fingers down and release. Then I'm going to sit back down into my hero's pose as usual, and now I'm just going to shake out my wrists. And then I'm going to do this fancy kind of wave thing, and I'm going to shake out my wrists again. And now we're coming down to another one of these. So this time, I would suggest, if you haven't done this before, that you do one hand at a time, and when we get more experienced, we can do two hands at a time. So you're going to, I should really have worn a short sleeve shirt for this one. So you're going to turn your hand the other way, so my palm is facing up. So you can see what I'm doing there, fingers facing back. So I'm getting, the stretch now is to the front of my wrist. This stretch was to the back of my wrist. This one is to the front of my wrist. If you can do both hands together, well and good. If you can't, let's do one at a time. And the reason why it's easier to do one at a time is you can take a lot of the weight of your upper body into your other hand. And you're just going to move around on that. Move around on it and then take that in the opposite direction. So always looking at ways of strengthening your wrists. And then if you can, doing two together. Now you want to keep the elbows straight. So if you bend the elbows, you see there's very little weight on the wrist, but if you straighten them out, then you can take them around and then around and back the other way. And then there's something else that I think is important to note. So put your right hand down on the mat, place your left hand on top of it, and then you can see the shape of your arm here. So the eye of the elbow, this inside of the elbow, is facing to the side. I want you to put your left hand on top of your right, and I want you to twist so that the eye of the elbow is forward. So look at that movement. The eye of the elbow comes forward. And I'm thinking about that in terms of my shoulder. So when you're in this position, you always want to have the eye of the elbow forward. So just try that movement. Eye of the elbow forward, and look what's happening to the shoulders. So if you have the elbows like that, even though they're straight, the shoulders around it, do it that way, and my shoulders come back. That's a really important, tiny little tip for how to do those kind of on your arm positions. Now let's just shake out the arms again, and then let's shake them out like that. And one of the best things that you can do for your arms, both upper arms and lower arms and your wrists, is just to shoot out your hands like that. So anytime that you're just, sitting in the evenings or even sitting at work and you want to get a little energy into your body, you want to get some movement into your body, you want to get some movement into your shoulders, into your arms and into your wrists, and particularly if you're somebody who works on a computer all day. And the increase in things like carpal tunnel syndrome the increase is kind of worrying in terms of the amount of time that people now spend on their keyboards every day. So just keeping that health in your wrist, keeping the flexibility in your wrist, but also building strength through them. So one of the things that I would recommend is you simply do that. And you can do that in hundreds. So I'm making a fist and then I'm shooting my arm out. I'm making a fist and I'm shooting my arm out. And if you watch your own arm as you do that, when you bring your arm back in with the fist closed, you can feel your bicep, right? Not impressive, but it's there. And then when you shoot it out, you release. So it's a really, really interesting movement, I think. And when you do the two together, you get loads of energy and feedback from that. So you're getting lots of feedback from those simple movements. So then always when you've done something like that, and I would do those in the hundreds, not just in the tens, but in the hundreds, because you're going to do 100 in less than a minute, probably, because you're going to shoot in and out. Well, you're going to do 60 in a minute, let's say, maybe more. So you want to do it at speed, you want to create energy, you want to create increased blood flow, and all of that's really important. So the wrists are rested now, so let's continue. So you're going to take your right hand down, and this is for your fingers, and this is really satisfying little move. So my fingers are spread on the mat as usual, and then I'm going to take my left hand and I'm just going to flip my fingers. That's my thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and baby finger, and then you're going to come back in the opposite direction. And then you can keep doing that. So what are you doing here? like you're strengthening this movement here, because our hands and wrists are complicated structures. So you've got all of these, look at your fingers, you've got a lovely set of joints there in your fingers. And you want to keep all of them healthy and well, particularly, as I say, if you're working on a keyboard all the time. And if you think of the position that your hands are in when you're doing that. I know a lot of people use those supports for the wrists and everything, but that's just locking them in a different position. So what you want to do is keep them mobile. So something as simple as that is, I think, a really good thing to have. Also using that little ball that I have there, or even just every so often making a claw with your hand, releasing it, making a claw, releasing it and making a claw. You can also do some very, very simple things. So you can take your right hand out, bend your fingers back towards you, and then bend them even further using your other hand. So bending them back. And you can feel that now. You do that with a straight elbow. So you don't bend your elbow, and you keep your arm in line with your shoulder. And then you can take it back in that direction. You can take it back. And then you would do the same on the other side. And back. And then back and back, and then I would always release then. So you're always releasing the moves. And then working with your fingers and your thumb. So make a fist out of your hand and wrap your thumb around your fingers. And then splay them out as wide as you can get them. Then take your thumb in and wrap your fingers around your thumb. And then release. And then fingers in, thumb around the outside and release, and a stretch for the thumb. Bring the thumb in, wrap the fingers around the thumb and stretch your thumb. And again, release. And everything, of course, on both sides. And this is going to be quite a short little video because I'm going to lead into the shoulders in the next video and show you how to work on your upper arms, like on your biceps, but particularly on your shoulder joints. And if you think about the arm and the shoulders, what I was just showing you there through the wrist about bringing the eye of your elbow forward is a connection up to the shoulder. So the connection between what we've been doing today and what we'll be doing in the next video around the whole shoulder girdle area and the upper back is really important. So keeping that health in your wrists, having good grip strength, being able to not necessarily do handstands or anything like that, but being able to take your weight on your wrists, being able to have that level of mobility through the wrist joints, being able to rock back and forward, being able to turn your hand up and take weight on it. So it's not just about being able to take your hand up, it's about being able to take weight on it. That's where the strength part of this comes in. And that's why I'm doing it on all fours. If you took your knees back further, you would take more weight into it. But again, just keeping the health in your joints, in all of your joints, and that's really what I'm about. And it's the health of your joints depends on the health strength of your muscles, tendons and ligaments, and the fascia, of course, that wraps it all around. So until the next day, when we'll be looking at our shoulders, take care of your hands and your wrists and practice those. Again, never just doing them once and now and again in a blue moon. Just doing them consistently is the important part. A couple of minutes every day or every second day is going to make a huge difference. So until next day and our shoulders, take care and be good.